The Zephyrian High Council chamber was a cathedral of cold light. Towering walls of glowing crystal pulsed softly with pale blue energy. The air buzzed with static, the subtle hum of countless data streams weaving through the room. At the center, the council's massive oval table shimmered like liquid glass. Around it sat the Zephyrian elders, tall, angular figures with sharp faces and eyes that gleamed like shards of ice. Their skin was a polished silver gray, catching and reflecting the chamber's eerie glow. "This human world," said High Commander Vrex, his voice sharp and cold, "is nothing more than a backwater rock, a weak, primitive world ripe for the taking." He tapped a clawed finger on the holomap floating above the table. Earth spun slowly, a small blue dot surrounded by 4 pale orbits. "Look at it," said Admiral Keth. "No fleet beyond a few rusty frigates. Their shields flicker like candle flames. Their weapons are archaic plasma bursts that burn out too fast, no real heavy firepower." A ripple of mirth passed through the council. Several elders sipped their spiced plasma from crystalline goblets, their laughter low and mocking. "Ha!" sneered Councillor Zilks. "They still use chemical propellants for atmospheric craft, primitive fuels that would choke any modern engine." The large war room window stretched behind them, looking out into the void. Beyond, the Zephyrian dreadnought fleet hung like dark predators against the starfield. The ships were enormous, jagged hulls carved from blackened metal, edged with veins of glowing blue energy. Each one sported dozens of heavy plasma turrets, their barrels like the jaws of some great cosmic beast. The flagship, Vanquish, was the largest. Its hull shimmered with frost-like layers of reactive armor. It sailed silently, a ghost of death waiting to strike. General Threx, eyes glowing coldly, leaned forward. "Our fleet is more than ready. The humans will fall quickly. No need to waste resources on prolonged siege." "We crush them, then we claim the system." Councillor Zilks smirked. "They'll be begging for mercy before their fragile colonies burn." But as they spoke, an uneasy silence crept over the room. The youngest elder, Vril, shifted nervously. "High Council," Vril said quietly, "there are anomalies. Human technology shows unexpected energy signatures. Their ships have unusual resilience in simulated engagements." "Anomalies?" Vrex snapped. "Or excuses from a fearful mind." "Fear? I see no fear here," Vril replied, meeting sharp gazes. "But we should not dismiss the ancient warnings." The Vorak Elders' counsel was clear. Humans possess savage tenacity. At that moment, a hologram flickered to life above the map. The wrinkled, pale face of an ancient Vorak elder appeared. His eyes were deep pools of wisdom and warning. "Zephyrians," the elder intoned, voice crackling with age, "humans fought us centuries ago. We crushed their colonies, yes, but they never broke. They came back with fury, unlike any known before. They fight not just for survival, but with the savage pride of a species born to war." The room fell silent. Some elders shifted uncomfortably. Others dismissed the warning with a wave of a hand. "Old stories, nothing more," Admiral Keth sneered. "We are the masters of this sector now." High Commander Vrex's eyes narrowed. "Prepare the fleet. The conquest will begin at dawn." The Zephyrian dreadnoughts aligned like dark stars, their engines glowing blue-white, plasma turrets powered up, casting jagged shadows across their hulls. Little did the Zephyrians know they were sailing into a trap. The cold, calculating confidence of the High Council masked a fatal flaw. They saw humans as weak. But the war machine beneath Earth's blue surface was waiting, and it was hungry. And soon, the stars would burn with the fire of a human war unlike any the galaxy had seen before. Next, the Zephyrian Council reviews human weaknesses, but an ancient Vorak warning shakes their certainty. The Zephyrian High Council chambers hummed softly, glowing walls pulsing with cold blue light. Crystal facets lined the vast room, casting fractured shadows across the angular faces of the council members. Each Zephyrian sat poised, their glowing eyes sharp and cold. The holomap hovered above the center table. Earth a tiny blue dot, barely worth a glance. Strategist Voron tapped a clawed finger on the data stream. "Humans are slow. Their tech development lags centuries behind ours." He smirked, voice dripping with contempt. "Primitive weapons, scattered colonies. They won't last a single day against our dreadnoughts." "Exactly," added Commander Trell. "Their shields flicker weakly under plasma fire. Their shields flicker weakly under plasma fire. Their fighters are slow, predictable." "This will be an easy harvest." Laughter echoed quietly around the chamber. The Zephyrians, confident in their superiority, sipped spiced plasma from delicate crystal goblets. Suddenly, the air shimmered. A hologram flickered into existence near the map table. An ancient Vorak elder appeared, wrinkled, wise, a spectral figure glowing faintly purple. His eyes held centuries of battle and loss. "I am Elder Cathar of the Vorak," his voice rasped. "You dismiss humans at grave peril. Their history is stained with blood, not weakness." He gestured to the holomap. The display shifted, showing scorched alien colonies, Vorak outposts reduced to ash and wreckage. Ships burned in orbit, hulls cracked and shattered. Centuries ago, we claimed colonies near the Sol system. The humans fought back, savage, relentless. They wielded crude weapons, yes, but their ferocity was unmatched. Voran scoffed. That was long ago. They used guerrilla tactics, primitive rage. They cannot stand against our fleets now. Cathar shook his head, eyes glowing brighter. You underestimate their cunning. They adapt. They survive by any means. The humans, when cornered, become a war machine. Our colonies fell because we ignored that warning. Images flashed, Vorak soldiers trapped in narrow canyons, humans emerging from hidden caves with flame-lit weapons. Explosions tore through Vorak supply lines. The humans struck with brutal precision. "Your arrogance will cost you dearly," the elder warned. Then the hologram flickered and vanished. A murmur swept the chamber. Some officers exchanged uneasy glances, but Voran waved it off. Old ghosts. Sentiment. "We have the technology. The dreadnought fleet alone will crush them." Commander Trell nodded, voice cold. "Let them cling to ancient legends. Soon they will fall like all others." The holomap zoomed in on Earth again, a fragile blue orb surrounded by red dust and swirling storms. The Council's gaze lingered briefly, but certainty returned. "We strike at dawn," Voran declared. "The humans will not know what hit them." Outside the chamber, the Zephyrian fleet gathered like a storm on the edge of the solar system. Jagged warships shimmered with cold blue energy, their hulls scarred from countless battles. Each ship's jagged edges caught the distant starlight, slicing the void with deadly grace. Yet beneath the confident chatter, a shadow of doubt flickered among a few officers. The ancient warnings haunted their minds, but the Council's resolve held firm. They would harvest its resources. The stage was set. A war was coming, one that would shake the stars. Next, the humans prepare, ready to defend a world no one believed could fight back. The Zephyrians dismissed the warnings. But somewhere deep, the echoes of human ferocity stirred. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the bridge of the UESN Defiance, his eyes locked on the glowing blue panels in front of him. The ship was a sleek silhouette against the burning red dust of Mars below. Outside, the red planet's rusty plains stretched vast and empty, except for outposts and colonies clustered like stubborn scars across its surface. The hum of the ship's engines thrummed through the deck. It was a sound Blake had come to know well, steady, reliable, like a heartbeat. But today, that steady pulse was laced with tension. They were waiting, watching. "Status report," Blake said, his voice low but sharp. Tactical Officer Lisa Hayes didn't look up from her holographic star maps. Her fingers danced over the glowing controls, zooming in on blips and trajectories. "Zephyrian fleet detected just beyond the asteroid belt. Their ships are massive, dreadnought class, weapons primed." Blake nodded once. "Any sign of the Atlantica?" Jake Morrison, the pilot, sat nearby in the ready room, running a pre-flight check on his fighter. His lean frame was tense, eyes sharp beneath his dark hair. He glanced toward the bridge through the open hatch. "Still cloaked," Lisa replied. "No visual signature, but energy reading suggests they're ready." "Good," Blake said. "We need every advantage we can get." His jaw tightened. "The Council thinks we're weak, primitive. They don't know what we're capable of." Lisa's gaze flicked up. "They underestimate us. That's their mistake." The Defiance was no shiny new warship. It bore the scars of a dozen skirmishes, scratches on bulkheads, pockmarks near the thrusters, scratches on bulkheads, pockmarks near the thrusters. But Blake was proud of her, and proud of his crew. They were humans, tough, stubborn, and fierce. Outside the viewport, the crimson light of Mars mixed with the cold black of space. The colonies below were fragile, small clusters of habitats, farms under protective domes, and mining operations clawing at the planet's surface. Billions of kilometers from Earth, they were humanity's foothold. And now, they were the front line. "Captain," Lisa said, voice steady but urgent, "sensors are picking up Zephyrian comms. They're mocking us, calling Earth a backwater, a relic not worth their time." Blake's lips curled into a grim smile. Let them talk. We'll show them what Earthlings are made of. Jake slammed the control panel shut and stood. You want me to take the fighters up now? Not yet, Blake said. Wait for my order. We can't afford mistakes. Jake nodded, eyes burning with resolve. Understood. The bridge lights flickered softly, casting long shadows. Each crew member was locked into their duty, focused, ready. The war had come quietly, but it was about to roar. Blake turned to the viewport again. The stars twinkled cold and distant. But Earth was home, and he would fight to keep it safe. Prepare the crew, he ordered. This isn't just a fight for Mars. It's a fight for humanity. Lisa's fingers hovered over her console, ready to launch the first strike. Jake moved to the hangar bay, already imagining the rush of battle. The Defiance was ready. Its crew was ready. Its crew was ready. And somewhere hidden in the shadows, the Atlantica waited, silent, deadly, and unseen. Blake took a deep breath. Let them come. Xaperian dreadnoughts hung in orbit like dark gods. Their jagged hulls shimmered with cold blue energy. Plasma cannons roared, spitting deadly fire. The first volley slammed into the scattered human colonies below. Explosions bloomed across the dusty plains. Dust and debris rose in fiery fountains. The surface cracked under the assault. Habitats shattered. Power grids failed. On the UESN Defiance, orbiting high above the chaos, Captain Ryan Blake stared at the hollow display. The Xaperian fleet pressed deeper into the system. Their warships moved like predators, confident and cruel. Shields holding at 60%, Lisa Hayes reported, her voice calm but tense. Tactical Officer Hayes never lost her cool. Not today. Keep them steady, Blake said. We're not done yet. Jake Morrison in the pilot's cage revved his fighter's engines. The sleek craft gleamed under the red sun's dim light. He shot Blake a grin. Time to dance with the devil, Jake said. Outside, the plasma firestorm grew. Xaperian cannons blazed like twin suns, scorching the red soil. Human orbital defenses flared under the onslaught. Shields flickered, blinking like dying stars. His fighter twisted and rolled, weaving through rivers of blue-white fire. The enemy's targeting was precise, but the human pilot was faster. Laser bolts sizzled past his cockpit. Jake gritted his teeth. They want to fight? Fine. He darted toward a Xaperian destroyer. Its hull bristled with weapon turrets. Jake fired his pulse lasers. His shots punched through the enemy's outer armor. The ship flared violently. Explosions rippled along its flank. Jake pulled back, heart pounding. Good hit, Lisa said over comms, but there are 40 more. Below, Mars' battered colony struggled to stay alive. Fire crews ran through wreckage. Colonists huddled in makeshift shelters. The red dust settled over broken dreams. Xaperian warships cut through the thin atmosphere above, their shadows long and menacing. Enemy boarding pods inbound. A voice crackled on Defiance's comm. Blake's grip tightened. Prepare interceptors. No way they're getting through. The Xaperian fleet advanced like a tidal wave. Plasma bursts tore open the sky. Mars orbital platforms erupted in flames. Shields at 30%, Lisa warned. Explosions rocked Defiance's hull. The ship shuddered, metal groaning. Crew members scrambled to damage control stations. Tactical fighters engaging, Lisa said, but were stretched thin. In space, human ships darted through enemy fire like lightning. They moved fast, small and nimble against the lumbering dreadnoughts. Jake, cover the transport, Blake ordered. Jake banked hard, weaving through a hail of plasma. His fighter's engine screamed. He targeted a Xaperian cruiser, firing pulse lasers. The enemy returned fire, but Jake was already gone. The battle space exploded in light and fire. Blazing plasma arcs cut streaks across the void. Explosions blossomed like deadly flowers. Despite their skill, the humans were outgunned. Xaperian commanders watched from their bridge screens, their sharp eyes cold and calculating. Human resistance is unexpected, muttered Commander Varlock, jaw tight. He gestured at the hollow map showing Mars. But their shields will fail. Mars, but their shields will fail. They cannot hold. A Xaperian admiral nodded. We will crush their defenses before reinforcements arrive. Back on Defiance, the crew's faces were grim. Sweat beaded on foreheads. Every console blinked warnings. Captain, sensors detect more enemy reinforcements warping in, Lisa reported. Blake's eyes narrowed. We hold the line. No retreat. Jake's voice crackled over comms. They don't know what they're in for. The human fighters pressed on, slipping between enemy beams. They fought with desperate courage. Mars' red deserts burned below. Fires raged unchecked. The sky glowed with death. The Xaperian fleet loomed larger, their confidence unshaken. Defiance's engines flared. Blake stared out at the burning planet. He knew this battle was far from over. "Prepare for the worst," he said, "because the real fight is just beginning." The stars beyond Mars twinkled cold and indifferent. But beneath their light, a hidden storm was stirring. The war for Earth was underway. The Xiperian dreadnoughts pressed forward relentlessly. Plasma volleys hammered Mars' orbit, their fiery blasts turning orbital defenses to rubble. The red planet's surface burned beneath sparkling explosions. The Xiperian smiled. Victory was close, but then, from the shadows of the asteroid belt, something stirred. A faint shimmer flickered at the edge of sensor range. The Xiperian commanders exchanged glances, puzzled. No ship should be there, no reinforcements expected. On board the UESN Defiance, Captain Ryan Blake's eyes narrowed. "Deploy the cloak breakers," Lisa Hayes ordered, fingers flying over the controls. Blue-white pulses raced through the ship's hull as the Defiance released a cascade of quantum waves. The asteroid shadows warped, revealing ghostly outlines. Suddenly, the hidden UESN Atlantica fleet bled into sight. Hundreds of sleek warships emerged like phantoms, stealth-coated frigates, corvettes, and cruisers. Their surfaces gleamed with cold steel and glowing blue energy lines. They moved with deadly precision. The flagship UESN Atlantica led the charge. Its hull was a masterpiece of design, angular, compact, with massive quantum railguns mounted on its sides. The weapons hummed with raw power, their barrels glowing an icy blue. Captain Blake's voice thundered through comms channels. "This is Captain Ryan Blake of the UESN Defiance. Xiperian forces underestimated us. You have no idea who you're fighting." The Xiperian command bridge was thrown into chaos. "Impossible," hissed Commander Velkar, his sharp eyes wide. "They've been hiding in the asteroid belt? Foolish humans." But the human fleet was no illusion. Quantum railgun blasts began streaking through space. Each beam was a spear of blue-white light. They tore through Xiperian armor like a hot knife through plasma-infused gel. Massive dreadnoughts shuddered as their shields flickered and failed. Explosions blossomed outward in brilliant flashes. One dreadnought exploded, its hull rupturing violently. Debris spun in a glittering cloud. Jake Morrison's fighter screamed through the chaos. "Target that cruiser!" Jake yelled, slamming forward on his throttle. His nimble fighter darted beneath enemy turrets, weaving between plasma blasts. On UESN Defiance's bridge, Lisa Hayes worked furiously. "Deploy adaptive shields," she commanded. "We'll use quantum feedback to absorb their energy pulses." The blue glow around the fleet intensified. The adaptive AI shields bent Xiperian plasma bolts aside. Every hit that should have burned a hole was instead diffused. "Human shields are holding," Lisa reported. "Their weapons aren't as invincible as they thought." Captain Blake's face was hard as steel. "They think our tech is primitive. They thought wrong." From the shadows, the rest of the human fleet unleashed electronic warfare. Numb. Holographic decoys scattered across the battlefield, confusing Xiperian targeting systems. Enemy sensors flickered and glitched. The Xiperian ship staggered under the sudden loss of guidance. "Switch to manual targeting," Velkar barked. "Do not let them break our formation." Human frigates and corvettes swept through gaps in the Xiperian lines. Quick, precise strikes disrupted weapon arrays and propulsion systems. A cruiser limped away, its engine sputtering. Captain Blake's voice roared again over the comms. "This is your last warning, Xiperian Council. Leave Earth's orbit now, or face total annihilation." The distant stars glittered cold and indifferent as blazing human ships pressed their advantage. Mars' red dust swirled beneath the battle, glowing faintly in the light of distant explosions. On the Defiance's bridge, the crew exchanged grim looks. "We're not just fighting for Mars," Blake said quietly. "We're fighting for Earth, and for every world they think they can conquer." Jake Morrison grinned behind his controls. Time to show them what humans really are. The hidden fleet surged forward, unstoppable and fierce. Xiperian dreadnoughts were no longer the hunters. They were the prey. The human war machine had awakened. Captain Ryan Blake stood tall on the bridge of the UESN Defiance. The dim blue glow of the control panels cast long shadows across his battle-worn face. Scars crossed his jaw, the map of hard-fought wars. His eyes burned with fierce calm. Around him, the bridge thrummed with activity. Crew members held their stations, waiting for his command. The distant stars outside the viewport blurred with the fiery chaos of battle. Xiperian dreadnoughts, massive and jagged, floated like dark predators in the void. Their cold blue plasma pulses lit their hulls. But the humans weren't broken. Not yet. Blake's hand hovered over the comm panel. His voice came alive, deep and steady, cutting through the static hiss of the Zephyrian transmission frequencies. "This is Captain Ryan Blake of the UESN Defiance," he said. His voice was calm but heavy with warning. "To the so-called High Council of the Zephyrian Empire, hear this." The bridge fell silent. Even the hum of machinery seemed to pause. The message streamed across enemy networks like a storm. "You came to Earth thinking it weak. You called us primitive. You expected an easy conquest." Blake's eyes scanned the stars. The holomap floated before him, showing Zephyrian dreadnoughts advancing toward Mars. But the humans had a secret. They had a will forged in fire. You see a blue rock, a backwater world, but you don't see what we carry inside. We carry the spirit of survival, the fury of every colony you destroyed, strength of every battle scar. His voice grew louder, sharper. "You came to take what you thought was unguarded. You will pay with blood. You will pay with fire. Every step you take on Mars will be met with a wall of steel and fury you cannot break." Behind Captain Blake, Tactical Officer Lisa Hayes watched the enemy fleet's comms channels flicker. She saw the hesitation, the crack forming in the Zephyrian confidence. Blake raised his fist, voice like thunder now. "We are not a weak race to be crushed beneath your claws. We are the human war machine. We fight, we endure, we win." His words echoed through the cold vastness of space. "This is not a warning. It is a promise. Back off now, or face the storm. We will not bow. We will not break. We will burn your fleet to ashes." The Defiance's bridge was alive with energy. Crew members locked eyes, hearts pounding. Pilot Jake Morrison grinned, fingers tightening around his controls. He was ready to lead the charge. Outside, the Zephyrian dreadnoughts slowed. Their cold blue glow flickered as alien commanders exchanged uncertain glances. On the alien side, hollow screens showed Captain Blake's face. The image was raw and real, a scarred human staring down death itself. The Zephyrian High Council's smug confidence wavered beneath that gaze. A sudden silence fell over the battlefield. Even laser fire paused. The void seemed to pulse with tension. Blake turned to his officers. "Prepare for full engagement. Let them feel the cost of their arrogance." He looked to the viewport, Earth's blue-green orb glowing softly in the distance. It was not just a planet. It was a symbol of defiance. Behind him, the crew braced. They had proven the Zephyrians wrong before. They would do it again, and humanity was just getting started. The void around Mars burned with fire and fury. Zephyrian dreadnoughts, once confident and towering, now reeled under unexpected assault. The hidden human fleet had appeared like ghosts, silent, deadly, precise. Now humanity's true might surge through the combat zone. Jake Morrison's fighter screamed through enemy lines. The sleek black hull of his Viper-class interceptor cut like a blade through the void. Jagged Zephyrian cruisers loomed ahead, their hulls glowing with cold blue energy. But Jake didn't hesitate. He pushed forward. "Target the Zephyrian command ship," Jake radioed, voice steady but fierce. "We take out their head, the rest fall apart." Lisa Hayes sat at the electronic warfare console aboard the UESN Defiance. Her fingers danced over holographic controls. Streams of enemy data scrolled rapidly. "Jake, I'm locking onto their sensor arrays, ready to blind their systems on your mark." Her voice was calm, determined. No fear. A pulse of electromagnetic waves burst from Lisa's console. Zephyrian sensors blinked out like stars snuffed in a dark sky. Enemy ships lost track of Jake's fighter instantly. He darted between two massive cruisers, engines burning bright blue. The Zephyrian warships fired plasma bolts, but their weapons missed wildly. Jake unleashed his own barrage. Quantum railgun beams lanced from his wings. The command ship took a direct hit. Sparks flew across its jagged hull as critical systems failed. It trembled and listed, flames licking out of broken vents. "Command ship crippled," Jake reported, weaving through debris. On the UESN Atlantica's bridge, Captain Ryan Blake's voice thundered over comms. "All wings, concentrate fire on their command nodes. Break their formation. Show no mercy." The human fleet surged forward like a tidal wave. Quantum railguns arced through space with blue-white fury. Zephyrian cruisers exploded in bursts of fire and metal. Lisa's fingers flew again, deploying secondary jammers. Their targeting systems are going offline everywhere. Their weapons won't track us for long. Alien ships drifted blind and helpless. Zephyrian crews shouted orders in rapid clicks, struggling to regain control. "Focus on their dreadnought's left flank," Blake ordered. "Jake, lead the charge." Jake's fighter rocketed toward the massive Zepyrian dreadnought. Its jagged hull was scarred from earlier hits, but still bristled with weaponry. He dodged plasma bolts, twisting and turning like a shark. Then, with a roar, Jake fired his railgun. The beam tore through the dreadnought's armor, cutting a deep gash. Explosions rippled along the hull. The dreadnought shuddered violently. Dreadnought crippled. "Hull breaches detected," Jake reported, adrenaline sharp in his voice. Behind him, human fighters swarmed like angry hornets, striking with ruthless efficiency. On the Defiance, Lisa smiled grimly. "Our adaptive AI shields are holding. Enemy fire is scattering like pebbles. We've got the edge now." Captain Blake's voice rose, fiery and commanding. "Remember this, Zepyrians. You came to conquer a weak world. Instead, you faced the fury of a war machine forged in fire and blood." The bridge lights flickered as energy readings spiked. Explosions lit the blackness, red and blue blossoms blooming where ships died. Zepyrian warships faltered, their once perfect formations fell apart. Some attempted to retreat, but human fighters chased them relentlessly. "Enemy retreating," Lisa announced, eyes sharp on the holomap. But Blake's voice cut through the comms. "Hold the line! No easy victories! We finish this battle here and now!" Jake grinned, his fighter weaving through a barrage of plasma. "Got one down!" Zepyrian cruiser exploding. "That's for Mars!" The battle space around Mars was chaos. Trails of smoke and fire marked destroyed ships. Debris drifted like deadly snowflakes in the void. Captain Blake's eyes burned with fierce determination. "This is just the beginning. They learned a brutal lesson today. The humans don't fold, we don't run, we fight." Lisa's voice was steady, unwavering. "Their technology is strong, but their tactics are outdated. We adapt faster." Jake's voice crackled over the comm. "And we don't quit. Not now, not ever." The Zepyrian fleet was battered, bruised, and broken. The tide had turned. The battle for Mars was no longer a one-sided slaughter. The humans fight harder, smarter, faster. The Zepyrian invaders are no longer hunting weak prey. They face a war machine, and this war machine has only just begun to roar. The Zepyrian dreadnoughts limped away from Mars, their hulls torn and smoking. The great blue and silver warships, once so proud and cold, now fled through the black void. Flames licked at their jagged armor plates, and silent alarms blinked red inside their bridges. Captain Ryan Blake stood on the UESN Defiance's bridge. The stars outside the huge viewport shimmered with distant suns, but his eyes were locked on the retreating enemy fleet. His jaw was tight, his scarred face bathed in the pale glow of the instrument panels. "Zepyrian fleet is retreating," Lisa Hayes announced, never taking her eyes from the tactical display. The holographic map flickered, showing the battered enemy ships scattering like frightened fish. Jake Morrison leaned in beside her, fingers twitching with restless energy. "They didn't expect us. They thought Earth was easy prey." Blake's voice was low but fierce. "They made a grave mistake." Outside, the space around Mars was a violent tapestry of burning wreckage and drifting debris. Twisted metal from the Zepyrian cruisers floated silently past the red planet's dusty horizon. The human fleet's shields shimmered softly as repair drones swarmed over battered hulls. The UESN Atlantica, the hidden fleet that had turned the tide, glided smoothly out of the asteroid belt. Its sleek surface reflected distant stars like shards of glass. The quantum railgun still thrummed quietly, ready for the next fight. "Status report," Blake ordered. Lisa's fingers danced over the console. "Atlantica fleet sustained minor losses. Shields holding at 70%. Repair teams making good progress. Fighters are regrouping." Jake grinned, the spark of battle still alive in his eyes. "Let's make sure the Zepyrians don't get comfortable." Blake nodded. "Prepare pursuit. They run now, but they'll remember this day." The bridge crew exchanged looks. The tension was still thick. The war had only just begun. Across the comm, Blake's voice cut through the static. "Zepyrian High Command, listen well. You have seen Earth's true strength. We are no defenseless rock. This is your warning. Turn back now, or face annihilation." There was silence. Then the faint crackle of alien response. "No surrender, only cold defiance." Blake clenched his fists. "Then we will show them what humanity truly means." Outside, the stars seemed to pulse with the weight of coming battles. The red dust of Mars glowed beneath the fleet, a reminder of what was at stake. Earth was no longer a silent backwater. The human ships surged forward, engines blazing with quiet fury. Fighters like Jake streaked ahead, weaving through the wreckage to hunt down stragglers. The hum of electronic warfare filled the Defiance's bridge. Lisa's work to blind enemy sensors continued without pause. The Superior fleet shrank into the distance, wounded but alive. The cold blue fire of their plasma batteries flickered less often now. But the galaxy had changed forever. Captain Blake stood alone for a moment, staring out at the stars beyond Mars. The blue and green orb of Earth spun quietly beneath them. It was a fragile jewel, but it had teeth. "Prepare for the next wave," Blake said softly. "We fight for every inch of our home." The crew moved with renewed purpose. Repair bots zipped along hulls. Tactical teams recalibrated weapons. Pilots ran simulations for the battles yet to come. Blake's voice echoed across the bridge, steady and sure. "This is only the beginning. The galaxy will learn to fear the human war machine." Far away, the Superior High Council reeled from their defeat. They underestimated humans once. They would not make that mistake again. The war was just getting started.